Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. We are at 695 subscribers. That is wild. That is like almost twice as many as we were last year at this time. So that's really rad. If you haven't already though, scroll down, like and subscribe. Helps me out, makes me want to keep making videos. If you enjoy the content, anyways, thank you. If you guys have been subscribed for a long time, thank you as well. And I'm doing my best to keep making videos as we get into our slow season. A little bit harder to spend money on car parts. We're trying to get to 900 by the end of the year. That would be awesome if we could make it happen. I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think we can do it. So, without further ado, let's get on to the video.
We're gonna be filming a video, and we need your Camaro. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we don't want it.
We don't want it in the video. You want to do your bike today?
Can we do it real quick? Because I actually have to go to church today.
Oh, go to church. Oh, welcome back to the videos, guys. Today we are going to be doing something kind of similar to some of our past videos, but it is going to be the GTI versus the Jetta. So you got the Mk8 and the Mk7, and we are going to be kind of comparing the two, the similarities, the differences, probably what's going to be better for you based on a number of factors, the sedan versus the hatchback kind of deal. So let's get started. Well, aside from Casey's car being filthy, so we have very similar setups. We're both on lowering springs. We both are on a stage 1 version of a tune. He is on IE. I'm on 034 Motorsports tune. So as far as comparing the two, they'll be pretty neck and neck.
His will make a little more sound. Mine doesn't have an exhaust yet.
Mine's a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker, more nimble. Casey just is lacking. He just needs to get on it.
Gotta get stage 2 power to keep up.
So coming into the Mk7 GLI, I do believe that this is also a 35th anniversary edition. Mine's a 40th anniversary edition, so I don't know for what that's worth. It makes them a little bit closer. We have a very familiar steering wheel, as the Mk7 GTI has pretty much the exact same wheel, except for it says GTI instead of GLI. You do have a full digital instrument cluster, where the Mk7 GTI did not. The dash is like a fake leather wrap almost, but it looks very nice, very sleek, very open. If you are a little bit taller or a little bit bigger, I think you'll fit in this a lot more. Casey's got his seat kind of set up weird. I'm not comfortable in it, but I'm not going to move it because it's not my seat. You do have cooled seats in here, as well as heated. Our car, the 40th anniversary, and Justice's GTI does not. So that's a nice feature. And then, of course, you have actual buttons. If you're into that sort of thing, then this probably would be better suited for you if you wanted a newer car with buttons still. So we'll jump over to the GTI. I've shown that interior a couple times, but we'll just do a quick overview. While we are waiting for Casey to get back, we're walking over to Holiday, the little gas station nearby. And Paisley is listening to the dogs. What do you think? What do you think of the dogs? So, yep. We're just waiting, and then we will film our portion and kind of film something together, giving you both of our thoughts.
So, on a day-to-day basis, this car is a lot of fun. It's everything you'd need in a daily driver. Reliable, gets good gas mileage. It's a little bouncy. It doesn't handle bumps the best, and that could be because of the lowering springs, but other than that, that's probably my biggest complaint on my day-to-day driving. Before I tuned the transmission on it, it seemed like it had a hard time deciding what gear to be in, since I had the stage 1 tune done. But now that we've done the transmission and switched to high torque, it definitely likes to decide what gear to choose. a lot quicker, and it doesn't waste time like kind of getting stuck almost. As far as performance goes, it'll get up and go when it needs to, or when you want it to. Compared to the Mark 8 GTI, I would say that it's still a little bit slower as of right now. I would probably need to be about stage 2 to be, if the same, if not a little faster. And the biggest reason is this car is heavier, and that kind of makes it on cornering, like, it gives you a little more body roll. It doesn't feel as sporty when you're turning at higher speeds, but it'll still handle them pretty well. I've ridden in the Mark 8. As of right now, I haven't driven the Mark 8. From just being in it, it feels like that car handles a lot better throughout corners and whatnot. Like, probably like canyon drives would probably be a little more fun. They could probably be a little more aggressive, a little more attack those corners a little better going up canyons. I use this car a lot for commuting, and I do Uber with it, and it seems to do pretty well in every situation I've thrown at it. I want to upgrade the suspension and the sway bar end links and try to get this thing to eliminate some of the body roll and make it corner a little better. But as it sits right now, it's a fun car, and I would recommend it if you're looking for something that has a little more space. That is something that I do notice between the GLI and the GTI, is I do fit a little better in here being a taller guy. Not to say that I can't fit in the GTI, it's just a little tight. But still a fun car, and either way you can't go wrong. Just know that this one isn't going to be as sporty as the GTI is, but it is definitely an upgrade from the 1.4 Jetta S. The Jetta S was my last car, actually exact same year, 2019. Yeah, this has been a great car. Really, it's fun. It's got launch control, but you can't really use it. You just spin. But it does get after it when you want it to. So it's still a fun car. Gets up and goes. It definitely, like, it surprises a lot of people that ride with me when I'm doing Uber that this car actually makes power, because they don't expect it from a Jetta. So if you're looking for something that's kind of just a fun commuter, got plenty of space, comfortable, this is probably what I would go with. If you're looking for something more aggressive, more sporty, I would definitely try out the GTI. But of course, if you can, test drive them both. Get a feel for what you like more, because in reality, it all comes down to what you're more comfortable in. But yeah, as far as the two car goes, I think you can't go wrong with either choice. It comes down to preference. They're both fun cars, they're both reliable cars, and easily tunable. Like, a tune really wakes the car up from where it was stock. I went and test drove one that did not have a tune on it, and I almost didn't buy it. And then we went and saw this one, and the previous owner had already had a stage 1 tune done, and it honestly made the difference for me, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to upgrade from the 1.4 or if I wanted to wait to get a more sportier car. But as far as just driving it day to day, it's still comfortable, still a fun car, and I definitely think if you can, get behind the wheel of one if you are considering it. It's just, they're fun cars, and Volkswagen definitely makes some good reliable cars. And hopefully here soon we'll be getting in the Mark 8, and I can give you a better idea of my first driving experience in that.
All right, guys, guess it's my turn. We are in Casey's Mark 7 GLI. I'm going to start out by saying that the GLI is definitely an underrated platform. I'm a GTI guy myself. I like the hot hatch, but the GLI is underrated. I don't think enough people appreciate it. I think they kind of just write it off because it's a Jetta. It's a great car and is almost just as capable as a GTI. And if you put the time and money and work into it, it's just as capable as a GTI. Really, if he wanted to, he could slap a set of sway bars on here and a nice set of end links and take this thing to a stage 2, and it would absolutely just wreak havoc. He could have a really, really fun daily that could go tear up the corners on the weekends, take it to the track if you wanted to, which is something that we are going to be getting into this next year. We will be hopefully attending some track events, and I would like to get some seat time. I have very limited experience on the track, so I'm not expecting to do super well, but I am wanting to start getting into that and start actually driving on a course. So that'll be upcoming. Anyway, another thing with the GLI, you got a lot of space. No, it's not a hatchback, but the trunk is absolutely huge. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. I mean, we fit 2 people in there. And myself and Justice have sat in the trunk and closed the trunk. There is plenty of space to be used. If you, let's say you've got more than 1 kid and you like to haul a lot of stuff, I think that this car would be better suited for you than the GTI. Same thing, like I said earlier, it's a little bit more roomy in here. I know Casey fits really well in this, and he fits a little bit more cramped in the GTI. And that's one reason we're making the video, is we live with these cars every day, so we can give you our honest opinions and what we've learned, what we like, what we don't like. Another thing, this is personal preference. I don't like how long this car is. It reminds me of the A4 that I briefly had. I did not like the A4 because it felt super long and it felt super boaty. And that's one reason I got rid of it. I do like the cooled seats a lot. I wish that my GTI had those. And that's not to say you can't get a Mark 8 that has cooled seats, but with supply chain problems that they're still having, I don't think that they're doing cooled seats anymore in the Mark 8s. And I could be wrong. If so, please correct me, and I will acknowledge as such. But they are kind of a unique feature. It's not something I see myself using a lot, but it's definitely, it's nice when you do use it. The first time I used it kind of felt like you peed your pants and just let it soak. That's what I imagine that to feel like. The car definitely has some get up and go. It is a very similar motor. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I think this is a Gen 3 E888 and we have the Gen 4. So they're pretty much identical motors. A couple differences. They're both 2.0s. They're both turbos. I do believe the Mark 8 GTI turbo is different than the one that is on the Mark 7 GLI. I don't love the auto start stop feature. I could definitely do without it. I think Justice's car has it, but Justice's car doesn't turn it on as much as this. Yeah, you can still just drop a gear and go. This thing with the trans tune absolutely is a fun car. If you were looking for something to haul your kids around, haul your soccer supplies, and still be able to get up and go and enjoy it, or if you wanted to take it out on the weekend with your kids, it would be an absolutely fun car. And best of all, you can have this performance and still get good gas mileage, because gas prices are dropping, but they're still more expensive than they once were. This car's definitely fun. Not my style, but it definitely suits Casey very well. Another thing I'll say real quick before I get out is I do like how simple the interior is, the dash layout and everything, but then you do still have those physical buttons. I'm not a button Nazi. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people in the Mark 8. I will say it's nice to have. I do believe that Volkswagen is actually redesigning for the Mark 8.5 to bring physical buttons back. I'm not 100% sure if that's true. That's just rumors I've heard and seen online. So I guess we will have to see next year when we start to see the 2025 models roll out. Hell, I'll have to drive one of those to give you my opinion of it. I've seen a couple pictures, I don't know how true they are, of just examples of the Mark 8.5, but it seems like they're slimming down the headlights a lot, and they're kind of making a little change to the front bumper and the grille. All right, well, sweet, we are back. So I will send you off with Casey in the Mark 8, and he can give you his opinions on that car.
Well, here we are, first time in the Mark 8, driving it, of course. Austin is trusting me to drive his car. As far as comfort and feel, I fit pretty well in the driver's seat. The problem is there's 3 inches between me and the back seat. So if you're looking for something that can fit multiple people and you're a tall guy, I would take that into account. For me to have enough space to drive this car comfortably, there's no space for someone behind me. Yeah, so let's see how this goes. This will be my first time back in a manual in a minute, sadly. We did that clutch video the other day, a couple weeks ago, making its clutch a little more responsive. The old Jetta I had was probably similar to what it was like before. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see how this thing reacts. I can already tell, you can feel it's a lot more reactive than it was prior, like, or at least in the Jetta I drove before. That clutch, you didn't feel like you could feel the car. You can definitely feel the car, or feel the clutch while you're driving this car. It's a fun car. I've been in it multiple times. It's gonna be interesting to see how it drives kind of with me in the driver's seat. Because of course, when you're in the driver's seat of something, it feels a lot different than riding in a car. It feels a little more responsive on the steering wheel. You can definitely tell it's a little more aggressive. It just feels like you can feel the road a little better. Of course, this car is a sport car. I feel like the Jetta is kind of a sport car, but also more of like a touring car. Off the bat though, I would say it's a great car. Definitely responds pretty well. I've got to adjust to that not newer clutch, but the different feeling of a clutch. It's definitely not hard to drive by any means. It's just adjusting to a clutch, of course. I do like the exhaust that he has on his, but that is something that we can add to mine. It's in the works, but it does sound really good. As far as comfort, it's pretty comfy going down the road. You definitely feel the road a lot more, and it's not like it's uncomfortable in the sense of like, no, it's a fun car. It shifts really smoothly. It responds to the gas pedal, to the brake, clutch, all that very, very well. I definitely think if I wasn't doing Uber and I wasn't worried about fitting like multiple people in my car, I probably would go for something like this as far as like sport wise. Sorry, technical difficulties there. Camera overheated. Hopefully you can't hear the defroster. I've got the air conditioner pointed at it, hopefully cool it down a little bit so we can finish the video. Like I was saying, I prefer the look of the Jetta. In my opinion, I like that a little bit more than the hatch. In the scheme of things, it's not really a deal breaker for the hatch for me. I just prefer the sedan a little more. As far as power, I can definitely feel this one a lot more. Like it throws me back a little harder in the seat than the Jetta does, and it responds better. Obviously it responds better because it's manual, and it probably feels that way because you're controlling the gears. You have 100% control. If you want to downshift, the car doesn't decide for you, you get to. And so that is a good perk of this car over the Jetta. But the Jetta, they do come in manual, so if that's something that you want, it is out there. But yeah, overall a fun car. I think it responds well, steering responds well, it's aggressive, it definitely corners better. When I'm going around corners, it doesn't feel like it has near as much body roll. The electronic dampening suspension is great. Like, it's just crazy how much more it reacts to the road, and I wouldn't notice. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to, that's something I wouldn't be able to tell from driving my car until I drove this, but that is something that I wish I did have. It feels like it makes the car a little more comfy, a little more easy to ride, or aggressive if you want it to be that way. I do think that they're both great options, but if you're looking for performance and power wise, I would personally probably choose this. Just for my particular scenario, I don't need the more sporty edition, more sporty car. Definitely would be fun to have though, and I think between the two, they're really both great options. It just depends on your needs, and I think that you're gonna have fun in either one because both are customizable. I will say, looking through parts online, there is a lot more parts out for GTIs. For my GLI, there's not as much out there. I mean, there's starting to be a little bit more that I'm starting to find, but it's definitely an underrated platform that kind of, I think, gets overlooked, and it was kind of overlooked by the creators of some of these aftermarket parts. But it's still got enough out there that you can customize it. Obviously, there's still tunes for it. I can still go stage 2 and, of course, make more power, but performance-wise, you can modify it and you can make it just as fast or as fast as you please to go. For right now, I'm probably going to stay at a stage 1 and possibly a stage 2 in the future, but I don't see much more for that car, as it is just going to be kind of like a fun daily car, also a little work car. But between the two, really, they're both great options, and I think you're going to have fun in either one. Interior, there's a little more leather on the sides. I like the electronic display it's got, and it just feels a little nicer. The steering wheel has this perforated leather. It definitely makes it feel like you can get a little better grip on it. It doesn't slip through your hands as much. And overall, just a really beautiful car. Definitely a well-made car. That's my opinion on the Mk8 GTI.
Well, Casey said that the camera got a little hot. It had some technical difficulties and shut off on you guys. So sorry about that. Hopefully you can't hear the air blowing over the microphone, but just give you my overview of the GTI. I love it. This is going to be a little bit biased just because I've had so many of them, but they're really good cars. Either way you go, let's say you're in the Volkswagen market and you were deciding between the two, that's kind of what this video is for. If you went with either one of them, you would not be making a mistake. If you're wanting more space, definitely pick up the GLI. Casey can sit in his seat and there's still room behind you, whereas in this car, if Casey has his seat in a comfortable position, nobody is sitting behind him. So that eliminates, you know, a third of your back seat, or more so half of your back seat, because your middle seat isn't really comfortable for anybody. I mean, you've ultimately got a 4-door 3-seater, unless somebody else who's tall sits in the other seat, then it's a 4-door 2-seater. Regardless, both of them are amazing platforms, very, very similar drivetrains. You can't go wrong with the DSG, you can't go wrong with the manual. I do believe the manuals will last longer just because there's less stress on them, less moving parts. I'm trying to think of things I haven't covered before. The biggest difference between Casey and I's suspension is the active dampening. On the 40th anniversary, you have the ability to change the damping of the shocks, the struts. And so like I think we're in custom mode right now. We can go to eco mode or comfort and it's super soft, or you can switch to sport and it'll be much more firm. And it is a very noticeable difference, and it is probably the best feature going from Justice's GTI to my GTI, is the ability to change the feedback from your suspension. I hope you all have enjoyed the video. I know that we enjoy making the videos. Sorry if this seems a little bit different, a little bit out of place. We are waiting on some parts right now for this car. whatever you guys want to see, let us know down in the comments below. If you have any questions for us, by all means, comments below. I try to get back to everybody. I do end up getting back to everybody. It's just, I try to do so in a timely manner. I do work a full-time job as well as do some detailing on the side to kind of help pay for this stuff. So, if you guys have enjoyed the video, like the video. If you didn't like the video, like it, please. It helps me out, makes me feel good. If you want to make fun of me, go ahead and do so in the comments below. I'm here for it, and we will catch you next time.